Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Mandates, the show where my sister and I force each other to watch movies according to a monthly theme. I'm Andrew.
I'm Kelly.
It's Animal Attack Month here on Movie Mandates, and I picked a movie with ants as its central antagonist. Huh? Huh? No? Okay. Well, I didn't pick Ants with Linda Day George from 1977 or Empire of the Ant with Joan Collins, also from 1977. No, I decided to go all the way back to 1974 with Phase 4. Because why pick a goofy, fun, exploitative animal attack movie when I can pick a slow and plodding sci-fi film? But before we discuss the filmic ants and their general proximity to the protagonist's pants, it's only fair that since I mandated today's movie, Kelly gets to challenge me in a segment we call Trivial Trivia.
Yes. All right, brother. I have here one, two, three, four, five. Five. I have here
I can see
five.
the title. I like that. That's funny.
I hope
Organized
you can't.
AF.
Oh,
The name of the
I'm like, I
notebook.
hope you can't read what the title of my book. All right, so I have five here. Um, I have the name of the actor,
Okay.
the insect that they play, and the name of the insect. You have to name the movie.
Okay.
Now, I am giving you all of this information for you to name the movie due to the fact that I know that you're not an actor always person. However, uh oh, and this is all voice work because
I was trying to think, I'm like, are there
one would
actors?
imagine
I mean, unless you give me the name of the actor who played whichever character turns into a cockroach in A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. um,
right, right. Um so yes, it is all voice
or any
work.
of the actor. I mean, Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, kind of.
Yes, there's Jeff Goldblum and Fly, and then
Who's his son in the sequel? Eric Stoltz, maybe? Anyway.
oh, it very well could be. Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly. Ding.
But, well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
actually shot some of the
Yeah.
movies
Indeed.
from what I.
Indeed. Yes.
I wonder how
Okay.
much they shot. Is there like an entire work print of Back to the Future?
So I don't know how much they shot, but I have seen a scene. The one in the shop, the soda shop with him like at the bar and when Marty McFly like
Oh, the
leans back
50s
and like
diner.
the 50s
Okay, where he
diner. Yeah.
runs into
So
Biff.
they shot that. So I don't know if that was like the first thing they shot and they were like, "Ooh, this is just not going to work." And it's fine. Like Eric Stoltz is a great actor. Like there's but it,
Oh, yeah.
things being things. Um sure. Okay. So I don't know what order to do these in. So I'm because I don't know if there's an easy too hard for you. Like one would I would like to put them in an order of like I'd like to get them gradually more
Right. But
difficult,
who the
but
hell knows which you'll be
who
like, oh,
knows?
he'll get this one easy, and I'll be like, I have no idea.
And you'll be like, I just don't know. So this will be the order that I wrote them in. So Jim Cummings plays a firefly named Ray.
You said Jim Cummings. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. That's every animated film ever. That
Yes,
guy
this
has
is
a
true.
the guy has a very lengthy
Yes.
filmography.
But he
Uh
plays a
that
firefly.
would be I'm giving you the name of the film, right?
Yes.
Okay. Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
You know, I didn't know who did the Firefly, but I would have been like, Frank Welker. No, Jim Cummings. Okay, there we go.
All right. Uh, Dave Foley plays an ant named Flick.
Bug's Life?
You know who Dave Foley is?
I do. But I was like, because I was like, okay, I know who it is. I don't know what character, but you said Ant. I'm like, okay, that narrows it down a bit. Flit. I'm like, pretty sure that's a Bug's Life. I don't like A Bug's Life. That was like the
I
first
know.
Actually isn't like the second Pixar, the main full-length Pixar film. It's like second or third, and I
It
didn't care for it much at all.
was one of the first,
Yeah.
but
Anyway,
James MacDonald plays a dragonfly named Evinrude.
uh, would that be Rescuers? Boy, I only recognize the name. I'm like, I wouldn't, I don't know that actor.
Then Seinfeld plays a bee named Barry B. Benson.
In a B movie, which I've
And
actually seen. It's okay. It gets a lot of flack just because it's so friggin' weird, but it's fine. Have you seen it?
not.
It is completely okay. It's like it is just fine.
It is a B movie.
Like I people slam that one so much, I feel the need to stick up for its mediocrity. Like there's some for the time the animation and art direction is pretty decent. There's some jokes that play. My butt did not go numb watching it. It's fine. You know.
I just thought this is not on my list because it's not a live action one would be Patrick Warburton plays a tick.
In the tick.
See?
There
But
you
he
go.
doesn't really play a tick.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It,
fine. I mean,
it,
because then you could be like, okay, uh,
Arthur
Michael
plays a
Keaton
moth.
played a bat in
Yeah, that's true.
Batman. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so the last one I have, sorry,
I guess
is
Danny DeVito played the Penguin in
yeah,
Batman.
but that's not, I'm
That would
doing
have been better, but
insects. This is an insect one to go on the theme of
oh,
Phase
right, it's not
4.
just animals, it's insects, right? Okay,
We're doing the insect quiz.
okay,
David Thewlis, love,
yep.
uh, plays an earthworm that just goes by earthworm.
Huh?
In fact, all of the critters in this one just go by the name of their critterness. Spider is spider. What
How
else is
confident
there?
are you that I actually know this movie?
Uh, I'll tell you, Susan Sarandon is spider. Jane Levy's is ladybug.
It's not like a remake of Charlotte's Web, is it?
Richard Dreyfuss is the centipede.
Is it that Wes Anderson movie?
Oh,
Amazing Mr. Fox or whatever? No, it's not that
no. And it's claymation. Have you seen it? Yes. Have I? No.
one. So it's a stop motion animation one?
Yes.
Oh, James and the Giant Peach.
Yes.
Jeez. Oh man, yeah. Wow. How I don't know how that one took, especially after you start rattling off the cast. For some reason, that one was just not connecting for some reason.
Sarah? Well, because I looked at the cast and I was like, who do I think he would get? I was like, David Thewlis, I think, is the one that I'll put out there because I was
Mhm.
like, he's the most interesting. Not that Susan Sarandon is not interesting; she's very interesting. But I was like, I thought that maybe David might be the one that triggers the
Yeah, yeah.
best for you out
Okay.
of them. But thanks for
Not too bad.
critters.
Needed help with one.
That's all right. But yeah, I've never. How is that James and the Giant Peach? I've never.
It's it's okay. It's worth a watch. It's
Got one.
it's visually a lot of fun to watch. Um it's it's
Henry Selick. I don't
hmm?
know who that is.
Henry
Henry
Selick.
Selick
Yeah,
directed it.
directed it. Yeah.
Ronald Roald Dahl or whatever that guy's name is.
No
I
idea
didn't
how
know
to
that he
pronounce
wrote
that
it.
correctly, but yeah, I've actually never actually read any of his original works. I've seen plenty of filmic adaptations of a bunch of his crap, but never actually read the. read any of the originals.
Think I have either. To tell you the truth, I can neither confirm nor deny, but I'm pretty sure I have not read any of his actual works.
Yeah. But James and Giant Peach, of course, came on the heels of A Nightmare Before Christmas, which is just an absolute barn burner of a film. So it does not, how could it reach those lofty heights? But it's 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 better than a B movie. You know, if you're sitting there going, all right, should I watch James and the Giant Peach or a B movie? Watch James and the Giant Peach.
All right. When it's down to just those two.
When you're on a desert island and two movies wash up on shore and you have the means to play them, yeah, watch James and the Giant Peach.
Got it. All right. Fair enough. All right. I did find both ants and the ant bully uh
That
as
I've never seen.
as other ones, but I knew that the ant bully you hadn't seen, and I figured when I was doing A Bug's Life and already ants, there were just too many ants, and I was like, However, what I will say, what I found interesting, um, is that both in ants and in the ant bully, there is an ant named Queen, which does make sense in the fact that
Is
there should be,
Queen?
because there's a queen. And in ants,
Wait, you're not the Queen? No, I'm just Queen.
queen. And
That's
in
the Queen. Well,
ants,
what's her name? Margaret.
and in ants, queen is played by Anne Bancroft. And you think to yourself, well, yes, Anne Bancroft, of course, queen, who else? Well, in Ant Bully, they got Meryl Streep. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Can't
I
argue
mean,
with those. Can't argue
not
with
you,
that guess.
you cannot argue with these. You're like,
You
these
could,
are
if you want.
facts. These are facts. I've seen neither movie, but I can agree with these here facts. So, um, and with that, there is a queen in phase 4
Somewhere.
somewhere.
Don't know if anyone ever found her, but
Not, not sure. Not sure at all. So here's the thing. There's and I know we're not going to talk about phase 4. We are going to talk about phase 4. There's a scene in phase 4. This is nothing to do with the movie. It's just
more and
this is
more.
something I think about. That it follows an ant that gets on a lady on her foot and then crawls up
Her pant leg, right?
through her clothing
Hmm.
and then out, apparently out the top of her clothing, and then sits on her pillow. Great, fantastic.
And
That's all I'm going to
watches
say
her
about.
sleep like a creepy ant.
And then sits there and goes like that. It's very, yeah, very creepy, creepy, creepy.
Hmm.
Here's the point. That sequence, I have, and I'm not going to remember the movie, but I've seen in like other iterations of things of like a bug or something crawling up the leg of something. And of course, the camera or in the movie, it shows it. And I understand that in a movie, you need to have that space between skin and fabric. But I'm like, my clothing just does not count. That's what?
There's not that much space between my shirt and my skin. It was pretty clear that, it's kind of like any time, you have a horror movie where someone's hiding under the bed sheets and the camera has to follow them. It's clear that there's grips on the sides holding the bed sheet up so that you can actually see something under there.
Those are some starched jeans.
Overly starched her out. Yeah, there you go. Maybe the yellow that chemical crap that they sprayed all over the place. Maybe it just starched the shit out of her clothes. Her aunt's like,
See,
oh, this is ruining.
this is the laziest movie. We hit them with the yellow. Next time it will be the blue.
I'm
Oh my
like,
God. You
didn't give
can't
didn't give
be
that much thought, did
bothered.
you?
Like, you can't even be bothered to like look up a toxin and maybe use some scientific term for a toxin. Or, okay, fine, you're too lazy to actually
Put a
research
number
a
on the end.
toxin.
Yellow 867. Something.
Make up some sort of pretend like Agent Yellow.
They
Give
wouldn't
me,
let us use orange. The university has a lot of money to give us, but they wouldn't let us use orange.
give me something. We'll hit them with the yellow. He said that, and I was like, "Are you?"
And
And he just
I think there's literally a button that's just yellow. And it has a yellow button too. We're not gonna mistake that for anything else. We're talking about poisonous chemicals. We want to make sure that, and yes, the chemical itself is yellow. And it kills two people. No,
and it
three
kills
people.
two people. And
Three.
then when he says like something about the blue, and then later he's like spraying the blue, I was like, what is happening? Yeah, anyways, that's later. But I
Yeah.
lazy. Late. This happened somehow. I wrote some like everything is just somehow. This happened somehow.
Somehow
Okay.
Palpatine returned.
I'm sure it did happen
Okay.
somehow. But maybe we want to invest. Oh my God. So when I started this movie, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that I turned on the wrong. Have you seen this one before? You said I
Yeah.
can't recall if
I
you
can't,
okay.
I don't know when I saw it. I mean, it's probably been like 20, 25 years since I've
Mhm.
seen this movie. I think I was probably because I remember being a lot more impressed with it than I am now. So I probably saw it when I was younger.
So the first 7 minutes is you don't see a human for the first 10 minutes, but the first 7 minutes
There's a voiceover, but yeah.
is yes, but like you don't it National Geographic has voiceovers, but you
Mhm.
just see, you hear Morgan Freeman and you see things.
Yeah.
So, but like you just see these ants and the guy chatting, and I thought, and I'm watching and he's talking, and I'm thinking, is this the movie? Is is this it? Am I going to watch an hour and a half
A
of
nature documentary.
like an ant, like this man like chatting about how the ants have taken over, and we're going to watch like ant footage that is ant
Someone
footage,
just
and
took a
he's
bunch of
just
uh it like they do on, Discovery channels. They get a lot of documentary footage of polar bears or whatever, and then they construct an entire narrative with characters and stuff and present that as a viewing experience.
because you can like ants can cause some destruction,
Sure.
and they can like you can narrate it to make it seem or like and speed up some stuff to make it look like it's really decaying or building
Mhm.
things or whatnot. So but there was I think about 5 or 6 minutes in, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm watching this evening. All right.
Thank God this movie's under an hour and a half,
All right. This is and also I'm glad I started it at like 7 p.m.
so I don't fall asleep.
Ain't no way I'm making it if I started this. Like, but no, it wasn't. And then some humans. Not that it got any better with them in it. But
No.
anyways, but it was very interesting, an interesting start to a movie. Uh Not bad. Like, no, I'm not gonna say like a bad start to a movie. It was just
Not what you were
not.
expecting. I can see that if you're starting, you're like, is this just gonna be like nature documentary,
Because
weave a
there's
story
also
out of it kind
no
of thing?
title, no.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
it's a
Really, they don't. The title doesn't even hit until the very end of the movie because they do phase one, phase two, phase three,
yeah.
phase four. And that's
Yeah,
where the movie ends on phase four.
phase four.
Yeah.
And it's so it's just we're here we go, let's start. And you're just like, okay, did I interrupt something? I'm like, it's an interesting it's a hot open, baby. You
Yeah.
just go. You're just you're in it. In it to win it. Um yeah. So there you go. Anyways, so you weren't as impressed this time, brother?
No, I watching it again, I can see why I liked it when I was young because I'd probably not seen much like it. And there is the movie does have a nice vibe to it if you can vibe with that over serious 70s era sci-fi, where they take this shit incredibly seriously, even if it's really silly, you know? Um, and there's a bunch of really cool, at least to me, really cool ideas that I find creepy in their subtle mundanity. For instance, one of the first things we see in that opening narrated segments where we're watching some really impressive small camera footage of ants wandering around. That type of photography is exceptionally difficult to do, particularly way back in the 70s, right? I mean,
Sure.
they did some because it's really hard to focus on shit at that scale. And they did a really nice job of filming their little ant actors and
Yes.
editing everything together in a way that was narratively coherent. Now, granted, they did some cheats like, oh my gosh, all these ants just piled on a gopher and ate it down to bones in 15 seconds. And that was clearly time-lapse footage. But again, early
That's
70s,
fine. Yeah,
I'll cut you
no,
some
I'll
slack.
take it. Yeah.
There's this they were like the red ants and the black ants were warring, and there's footage of a big tussle between two different colonies of ants. And like, but then they suddenly disengaged and went their separate ways. I'm like, that's just reversed footage of the two armies coming together because all the ants are walking backwards. And I'm like, I mean, we didn't have CG yet. It's fine. We
Yeah.
asked the ants nicely, and they just wouldn't listen to us. But most of it works really well. So one of the first things we see is they're talking about there was some type of astral phenomenon that no one that people argued about whether there were effects. They're like, all the religious people are like, doomsday, end of the world, and all the scientists were like, who knows, maybe a thing would happen. Yeah, but I knew the truth because I was staring at the ants. And the ants were doing stuff, and what I found was a bunch of different species of ants just talking to each other. And they edit it together. There's no wide shot, but they edit it in a way that gives the impression that you've got like five or six different species of ants kind of sitting in a circle, like powwowing. And then they
Yeah.
all like kind of rear up like they're agreeing, reaching an agreement. And I'm like, you know what? That is actually sufficiently creepy because ants aren't supposed to do that. Like if you were out in the yard, like Rick Moranis looking for his tiny, tiny children that he shrunk, and he just came across a bunch of ants and all in a circle, and they suddenly stopped and they all looked up at him, that would be creepy as hell, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that might, yeah.
And there's a lot of really great stuff in the film, like when they get up in the morning and they find themselves surrounded by these structures that the ants built overnight. And all of these structures have a flat mirror sheen on the top that are built specifically to angle the sun's rays at the
That's
lab
amazing.
man to cook their asses during the day. And
Yeah.
that's like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's a really neat idea. That's genuinely creepy. And it's so the biggest issue I have with this film is really the writing. I think the premise is solid. I think it's got a lot of great ideas. That's like, oh man, that's creepy. Because one of the first things that they notice is the ants, they build these weird structures out in the middle of the Arizona desert somewhere. These styrofoam towers that are kind of waving in the wind, but they're supposed to be pretty solid.
For some reason, they don't notice until they're right up on. Like they're
That
walking.
was weird. It's like, yeah, well, we're out here and it's like what? Look right in front of you. Oh, wow. 12-foot tall dirt mound tower things. I don't know how I didn't notice that until I was standing right in front of it since you could see that from a mile away, but hmm.
I was like, "Oh," yeah, it's a weird reaction. Like they're just strolling off. Like I'm like, you act as if that's where you were going was to get a better look at things, but they definitely acted as
Yeah.
if they didn't know they were
I mean,
there.
imagine if Ellie Sattler in the first Jurassic Park wasn't busy fawning over a fawn leaf or something, a leaf. Oh, this is supposed to be extinct. This is amazing. What's with this leaf? And Grant's like, Ellie, look out the window. And she's like, oh my God, a dinosaur. Imagine if she was just like staring out the window and Grant was like, look over there. And she's like, what? Oh shit, big dinosaur. It's like, how did you not see that? Big dinosaur, right?
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
ants cooperating, interspecies cooperation, building weird structures. They find a like a sound frequency and start figuring out that the ants have a language, and they start decoding
And like an
the
actual like
directions.
motives. Like the
Yeah,
ants not just like they actually have thought somehow. Like
yeah,
there's an
they're
actual understanding of
mhm.
like their sentientness,
Yeah.
I mean they have ants are sentient, but like there's a
They have a consciousness that's becoming very similar to our own.
right. It's not just like a reactive, I'm, food gathering
Right.
and
And then once they figure out that we're listening to them, they start sending messages.
yeah.
And that's like they and the first message that well, I think we only see one message that they send specifically to them, and it's like and it's a circle with a smaller circle in it. And it's like, okay, well, if this is the habitat that we're in, then I guess this little circle is one of us. And it's like, oh, they're singling it. It's like, what do they want from one specific person? Do they want a blood sacrifice? Do they just want a ambassador? What I think there's some really creepy unknowns here.
Oh, let's talk about that
Hmm.
for a moment because I found that very her. Let's talk about the girl.
Oh, well, okay. The
You don't want to
girl
talk
is
about the
the
girl?
girl, and she girls all over the place because girls couldn't have any plot relevance other than girl back
First
then.
off, that gross. And like the shoehorn love story that is into love story also is just disgusting because he calls her a child. Like she's a child, and then he's like making goo goo eyes, and then like he's like, "This is our tool room," and she's like touching everything, and I'm like, "Why are you just letting her like roam
Any of
free
that
with all
important?
this equipment?"
He's
But
like, I
like,
don't know.
no.
The university pays for all this shit. Break it whatever you want. I don't care.
So, so first off, her
Also, there's no way
parents,
a university's funding that shit for two people.
no. So,
That
who are
that's got to be millions of dollars worth of custom built laboratory and this stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's
right?
got to be like a government operation. That's not a university student doing stuff off of some federal grant or something like that. There's no way that's happening.
So, I thought for a moment that she was the queen.
Oh, like she actually
Tell you
died
why.
and she was full of ants. She was like a human puppet being puppeted by ants and they brought her inside. I had that thought too.
I thought that per se, that she was being puppeted, or if that she was somehow in cahoots, or if like maybe because like when the dude got, I don't know how or why she
Like maybe
was the
somehow
queen. I
the
didn't
ants were holding her horse hostage. The horse didn't really die. They were
like
like, we're gonna eat your horse down to the bones if you don't get in there.
I don't know why like I didn't go that far because the writers didn't go that far.
No,
Right?
that's my biggest
But
problem with
here's
this film is the writing.
yes,
There isn't
but
any.
the reason why is because when she sees the ants, she immediately takes the baseball bat and strikes it
I think didn't she hit it with her shoe or something?
or something.
Something.
So
Whatever.
she takes something and breaks it open
Yeah.
and is like, "Oh, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," right?
It's like, is she
And
really mad or is she letting them out on purpose?
And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, maybe she did that to actually let them out, which backfires because they kill them.
Yep.
But I thought, I'm like, oh, maybe she was letting them out because the one that like goes up her leg doesn't do anything to her, doesn't bite her, it just sits there and creepily looks at her. And then she talks to it and she says, go away. And like, granted,
Then the scene ends. And
and the scene ends.
did it go
But
away? I don't
here's why I really thought that she was the queen is because then she screams and outside on the monitor they see like a gopher or the little rat thing
know.
on the monitor and she screams and she's like, "Oh, what is it?" And they turn on the light and they're like, "Oh, it's just a rat." And then the ants swarm it and immediately eat it.
Hmm.
And they're like, "Oh, wow." And I'm like, "Dude, it scared her." And the ants are like, "We got you, queen. We'll kill it if that thing scared you. We'll protect you. Sorry, sorry. We
Hmm.
didn't mean to scare you. We'll get that for you right away. Taken care of." And I'm like, bitch is the queen. She is controlling the ants, which is why those guys are still alive because the whole time they're like, why are they keeping us alive? And I'm like, because the queen is with you. And then when they have the circle, circle, dot, dot, cootie shot thing, but like, so they have the circle with the little circle and they're like, we want one of you. And I'm like, it's the queen. And I'm like, finally, this movie is going to have a redemption because maybe, lazy movie. It's the longest short film I've ever seen because like it looked it is
This,
like
you know what? This would have made a really tight 30-minute short film.
yes. And And so I thought, okay, it's gonna have it might not know why it wants to do this. It might not have a reason. It won't know why she's the queen, but at least it's gonna have something. And I'm gonna go, that was interesting. I wish it fleshed it out more, but okay, at least there was a bit of an intrigue, and we're not gonna understand it, but okay, I'll get behind something. And then she says I forget. And then she goes out there to sing her song and sacrifice herself to the ant. And she's like, and she says, so if if for some reason I hurt, someone hurt an ant, that's what they want. They want to hurt people who hurt them. And she's like, well, because I tried to, kill them, they want to kill me. And I'm like, they're already in the facility. They would have killed you. Like they were there. Like why didn't they like this now? Now I'm pissed because now it went from okay, I'm behind it. I get you to now it makes no sense again. And she goes out there and they swoop her and take her down.
They bite her
I
tootsies.
think. Well, you assume that they take her down because they swarmed her tootsies, and then the camera pans out. She's like, and
Uh,
she
uh,
goes, she falls down her knees, and you assume that they take her down. Apparently, they just carry her off to a pit, I guess, which
yep.
maybe she actually is the queen, but then why is she yelling about that?
I mm,
I don't know. I don't know what they actually did. Did they bury her in sand? Is she now being controlled by ants? So that whole thing is awkward. But that was the thing. I thought she was going to be the queen. Like, I thought that that was what that was, and that they missed they missed an opportunity. And then even at the end, when Mr. Agent Blue is spraying the blue and goes down there and he's like, we're now part of it. We're whatever comes next, we're part of it. And I'm like, how? You're human, they're ant. How? Like what? What now?
Are
What could you
are you
possibly do?
slaves? Are you slave labor for the ants? They're like, yeah, we ain't building that shit ourselves. Now the humans can do it.
I'm like, the
I
ants
don't
are
know.
better than you. They're already better than you. They have directionality like that. They can harness the power of the sun better than
Yep.
there's nothing that you can provide for them.
They like
Go.
they like get a bunch of samples of the yellow and they just keep breeding until they manage to and they just breed really really fast until they breed an entire army of ants that are immune to yellow, which is also just really creepy. Not something that's gonna happen in a day, but that's a really cool idea. Lots of really genuinely cool ideas in this film. It's just I think for me, I think the biggest problem with the film is the writing. I
Yeah.
think
Oh yeah.
the I think the like the set design is fine. I like the big dorky 70s um research station that's completely implausible and especially since they're just like this is a guy at a university, you know?
Has a theory.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know how long it will take. It could take this long or it could take this long.
It's like, dude,
Don't rush science.
we apparently gave you like $5 million or in 1970s funds. You better start turning up some results. It's like we even bought you a grenade launcher. Why did you do that?
He used all the grenades immediately. And then like
And he
later he's
knocks
like, where are
down
the
all
grenades?
6 or 7 towers too. I'm like, I think one would have been fine. Didn't you think to just like, I don't know, throw a rock at it or something instead of blowing them all up with a grenade launcher? Let's have some activity or
And
whatever.
I love how just even keel he is later when he picks up and he's like, where's the where's the ammo for this or whatever he says. And the other scientist guy goes,
You
oh,
used
we
it
used
all.
it all.
What were we
Like,
going to use the grenades for? It's like, I'm going to study some ants. Oh, well, you're going to need a grenade launcher and grenades. What
you're
the
gonna
hell
need
kind of ants
tons
are
of
you
weapons.
studying? Oh, and the ants make crop circles too.
Yes. Yes, they did. They did make crop circles. And I love how they're like, I didn't think you noticed them. I was like, they're big
Well, I mean,
crop
he didn't
circles.
notice the towers until he nearly walked into them. So, I mean, seriously though, I think both Nigel Davenport and whoever the other guy is, as actors, I think they have a lot of stage presence and charisma. They're interesting people to watch, even though the characters and dialogue are not interesting at all.
Yeah, and I
Um,
really liked his voice is great too. Like he had a really
mhm,
good narration voice for
yeah,
like when he was like talking about the ants and everything at the beginning. Like it was a really good um, you know, voice for that kind of
mhm.
nebulous fake news sort of,
Yeah,
and I've been studying them for this long and da da da. I'm like, I'm with you. I could
yeah.
believe that you are this scientist
There's really,
rogue
yeah.
kind of
The
guy.
characters don't really have arcs.
Nope.
There, there's the movie isn't to the movie's credit, it doesn't seem interested in being like a thriller. Like we're gonna have the tense music and we're gonna be real sweating as we desperately try to wire something up to make sure that we don't cook to death in here. No, it's everything is just very, very matter of fact.
Yeah.
And there's as a style, I could kind of get behind that because these are boring science people, right? Um, but there, the writing is not strong enough to carry what I again feel is a solid premise with a lot of really great, creepy ideas. Nature doing things it's really not supposed to do. There's another animal attack movie, and I'm going to watch your face real carefully to see if this might be the one that you picked.
It won't
It's
be.
called the Day of the Animals, I think. And this was okay. That's kind of all right. Um, who is
Day of
in
the
Day of
Animals?
the I'm trying to remember who's in it. It's someone we know.
Okay.
I'm
Well, while you're looking it up, the thing that I find very interesting, and I think it goes off of what you're saying, is that they're just regular
yeah, it's
science
Linda Day
people.
George again.
Oh,
She's
duh.
in Ants and she's in Daily. Leslie Nielsen's in it too. This is one of his serious ones. This is a movie
Oh,
where this is the animal attack movie where which animal is it? It's all of them. All of the animals hate us. And there's a lot of really great shots in the film where all of the animals are just kind of sitting there just staring at us. And they're standing in like groups that you wouldn't expect. Like there's a panther laying on a rock, and then there's like an owl perched right next to it, and they're both like seemingly staring at our
okay.
heroes. And it's like, how did they like tie an owl down to a tree branch or something and
I
drug a
hope
line?
not.
Who knows? It was the 70s. Jesus Christ, that was 77 too. Linda Day George was in two animal attack movies in 1977. Um, yeah,
You find your niche, man.
yeah. And A Day of the Animals, I would say, is less thoughtful, but definitely a more fun film, I would say, more entertaining than Phase 4.
The thing, piggybacking off of what you were saying though about that they're just scientists is it's very much like the Jurassic Park dude is the reason it's not a suspenseful
Seriously,
thriller.
Leslie Nielsen goes bare-chested and fights a bear in this movie. It's great.
Hey there. But like the reason that this isn't a thriller, it's not suspense, and there just is there's like respect for these ants. And
Hmm.
that's the thing, is like though these two gentlemen are like really like what one of them is like almost like hard for these ants, like really respect in a weird sort of like isn't it's the most fascinating and we almost need to counteract like he's like in it for the ship to sink with these ants because it's like I will go down fighting and understanding these ants and somehow which doesn't work because don't you want to get your message out like I get that there's no other way to learn about them other than to your final demise, I guess, because it's like you have to take it all the way to the limit to figure out anything, but then like how are you supposed to pass on that knowledge, dude? You can't because you're dead. But that's why I also think like to your point, like one of the good reasons why it is this kind of a matter of fact movie is because it is just scientists being all like, what happens when I push this? Oh, very interesting. It truly is just very scientists being
Right. Like,
like
the
scientisty.
where he goes up and just blows everything up, but that doesn't seem like a very sciencey thing with the grenade launcher. Now,
Well,
imagine if it was something along the lines of because they have that phone conversation with someone at the university who's pestering them for results. It's like, what, is it going to take like a day? He's like, this could be years, man. Come on. This is
I can
science.
put it down for 10 days.
Yeah, right. And it's like, dude, if you don't get results in 3 days, we're pulling your funding and we're coming out there and we're taking all of your toys. And, that last resort kind of pressured him into taking drastic action, like
Yeah.
blowing up one tower with a grenade launcher, not all seven.
That
Now, that,
reminds
that could
me.
have been an interesting conundrum for our characters. It's like, oh, should we kick the hornet's nest or, because if we let this play out, which is how science really should work, be as, less variables as possible, we're going to get our funding pulled and we won't get to study anything. That could have been some interesting drama, but no.
He's like I said about the
Let's
lazy
have
writing.
some activity.
It, to the lazy writing point. he said like uh every time the one guy says we should do this, and then Nigel goes, I've been thinking about that.
After a while, I stopped believing him. Yeah, because he's like, I've been considering this. He's like, yes, I've been thinking of that too. I'm like, no, you haven't,
I've
you
been thinking
liar.
about that too. And it's like, no, you haven't. You're trying to take credit now. He's like, I think we should do this. Yes, I've been thinking about that too. Like every time I've been thinking about that. Uh, just the whole time. I was like,
He
yeah,
gets he
that's
gets bit in the hand, and his hand just swells up throughout the movie, and not much really ever comes of it.
I was always wait because I noticed him having his jacket over the side for a
Right.
while. And I was like, oh,
What's
they're
he
gonna do
hiding?
something. I'm like, did they lay an egg in there? Did one burrow in there? Because they showed like the burrowing, like, because I knew the
Hmm.
dead people. Like when the hand was clenched and they opened it, I was like, don't open that hand. Don't open that hand. There are ants in that
Yep.
hand.
They
Like I
burrow
was like,
inside,
I
and
was like,
not
they
much
are
ever
in that
comes of
hand.
that.
And nothing ever comes of that. And then
It's just creepy.
I thought that when they were like, "Oh, you got bit," I'm like, "Ooh, he didn't
Because
get bit."
that's
There's
where
what?
girl comes into the picture. And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
she's alive?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So I thought when he got bit, I thought to myself, I'm like, because then he gets bit and he keeps scratching at it, and then he starts wearing his coat over his arm, and I'm like, oh, something's. I'm like, and then like every now and then it shows his hand and it's like getting swollen, and then it starts going up, but like nothing, like you said, nothing ever comes of it. I'm like, it's gonna like burst, and like that who is
I mean,
it?
he has the ultimate payoff is he has trouble putting on his boots.
Yeah,
And the fact that he can't put his boots on is not the cause of his demise. He doesn't get bit in the feetsies. The girl does. He just falls in a pit. Same thing that happens towards the end of Tremors. The graboids dig a big pit that the caravan falls into.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's really cool. It's like, holy shit, ants dug a trap. That's a really interesting idea.
but like.
It's a slow, poorly written movie with a lot of really great ideas.
Yeah. And the ants win. Like
Yeah, they take over the world, apparently, yeah.
they full on win. Phase four is win.
I mean, at least we're a part of the ant future rather than they just kill us all and take over the world. They seem to want to cohabitate, maybe. I don't know if it's like slaving us
Selectively.
or anything. Yeah, except Kevin, that guy sucks. Don't worry, humans. We're going to coexist, and except Kevin, we're gonna eat Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin's an asshole.
yeah.
Nobody likes Kevin. All right,
But
well, we'll give you a chance, Kevin. All right,
but
humans. Anyone want to keep Kevin around? Show hands.
we'll count. We'll
Wow,
count.
nobody? Sorry, Kev. You're just not likable.
Exactly. But yeah, that's yeah, I don't know. But I don't know what they have planned. And how many like I wouldn't, yeah, that it's a weird thing. And then like they like screw off to places and then come back. So it's like that was another thing. Like they were at this center to look for the ants and the ants weren't there any longer. So it's like they obviously went somewhere to go do something else for a while. So what crop circles were they doing at someone else's farm? Like, so and yeah, it's interesting. There was a
Speaking of
lot of
going somewhere and coming back, there's that small farm on the periphery of where their station is set up that has the old couple, the other guy, farmhand, I guess, and girl, um, who has a horse. Because that's her
all
character.
girls have a
She's not
pony.
just a girl. She has a horse. Because
Yes.
girls like horses.
We
She
do.
probably gets on her horse and goes shopping because she's a girl. Um,
Nice shoes.
but they go to and buy shoes, right? And so they go to this farmstead and they're like, we, by the power vested in apparently the university I attend, are kicking you off of your property, but just for a couple of days. I guess you can come back.
They
Because they're
didn't
back
leave,
like the next
but
day.
they didn't leave. That's the thing. They
They
didn't
did. I thought
leave.
they were leaving.
They
No?
didn't leave, and that's why the
Like,
mom and dad,
you know
like
how
the
much
mother got
gasoline we dumped in the trenches around this thing?
that's why the mother got pissed at the father, and she was like, we should have listened to them and we should have left. But here's also the thing. When they were when they were driving away finally, because she yelled and she was like, we should have listened to them and we should have left. So when they were finally driving away, um, and the ants were in the car, this is the part that I was like, what is happening? So they're in the car, speeding away, and there's ants in the car, and the woman starts screaming, and she's like, "Ah," and she's like slapping the ant off of him, and then she's trying to get out of the car, and he's like, "No, stay, it's fine, everything's fine." And she looks up, and it's like a swarm of ants. She's like, "We gotta get out of here." And the husband's like, "Oh, we're fine." And I'm like, is he in the same car with her? Do you not realize that she's like, I'm trying to get out of this car because it's full of ants? I mean, I guess if the car is full of ants, I mean, you're dead now. Like you, it's over. You should have left. You lose.
Get
But
out of
like,
the car and into the Arizona brush where there are no ants.
but yeah, you'll be fine in the desert. But
Ants, oh,
like,
they only exist in trucks. That's
and that's right. But it was just, but like, I get her impetus though. But it
yeah.
is one of those things that I'm just like, what? That is not a healthy relationship.
I did not seem to
So
be a healthy relationship.
that's all I have to say about that. Yes, but anyways, there's the knot in my hair. Excellent. And now it's gone.
Uh,
And it's on the hotel floor, and now they can clone me. If they so care to, no one should ever have any more of
You
me.
return to the hotel a few years later, and there's like six clones work. There's like one behind the reception, and there's another one checking in luggage. It's like, what the hell, guys? It's like, ah, you left a hair behind. Waste not, want not.
All just a little slower than the next.
There, it's like number six is just kind of laying on the floor over there. She doesn't move much.
Speaking dust angels.
Makes occasionally makes a gurgling noise. I don't know. We think she's kind of cute. It's like wait a minute. Did you make clones off of the same stretch of hair? No, we made a clone and then we cloned that clone and then cloned that. You've seen multiplicity, right? You know, it just keeps getting worse.
What a great movie. Oh, I love that one. So good. I
Who's
got Wallet,
it's Sandy
drive
McDowell
car.
who's in that with
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Michael
Like
Keaton, Andy McDowell. Wallet, drive car.
yeah.
I can. Okay, anyways. Ants. No, we didn't watch Ants. We watched Phase 4,
We watched Phase 4.
which just is also sad. Like, it's nothing in that name tells you anything about the movie. Like, it just suffers from so much.
Yeah. It maybe I mean the poster's pretty good.
Okay.
It's got an eye-catching poster. Yep. Yes, the other direction, but yeah. Yeah. See, it's a, it's a hand reaching up, and it's got an ant burrowing out from the palm of the hand, in front
Hmm.
of like a fiery apocalypse. It's like, oh shit, phase four. Whoa, man, what's that? So, let's see, the day the earth was turned into a cemetery. Let's see, ravenous invaders controlled by a terror out in space commanded to annihilate the world. Well, that's not really what happens in the movie, but that's what the,
I'd like to watch that movie.
yeah.
Let's watch that one.
Yeah. You know what? If they, this is the kind of movie that I'd like to see a remake for. No need to, don't need to remake, I don't know, Star Wars. Star Wars is good. I like Star Wars. Don't need to remake Star Wars. But Phase 4, I think there's a lot of potential there. I think if you got a solid writing team behind this, you could genuinely
Yeah,
churn out something real special.
yeah.
So, I remake Phase
There
4.
others? Were there others on your short list
Um,
that you recall?
no, no, I was just like, oh, I want to watch that again because I remember it being really neat.
When you know,
It's
you
certainly,
know.
yeah, if you categorize this in an animal attack movie, it's probably one of the most unique animal attack movies because
I
most
like
of them are a bit, have a bit more energy than this.
Oh, I agree. I do agree. So, I have not seen my Animal Attack movie. I You probably have.
There's a lot
But
of
that's
them.
there are a lot of them. But that's okay because we're gonna watch it nonetheless because I mandate it. And
This works.
I know, and I have just that authority over you when it comes to this. Once a month, I can tell you what to do. Dang it, and now is that time. So we're gonna watch The Birds. Have you seen it?
The Hitchcock film?
Yes.
Yeah, Tippi Hedren. Yes, I have.
Yes. Yes. I've
It's
not. And I was
definitely worth a watch. Yeah.
So I had another one in mind. So I was playing with two others that I was going back and forth over. And I was chatting today at the conference in the booth, and my colleague I was chatting with him, telling him the two that I had in mind, and he goes, "You know what another good one is the birds." And I was like, "Done." I was like, "That's the answer." I was like, "There's the actual answer." I was like, because the two that I had going, I was
Man,
like,
it's going to be interesting because I haven't seen, my memory of the birds is very positive, but I have not seen it in decades. So it'll be interesting watching it again, see if my
excellent.
opinion goes down like it did for Phase 4.
Excellent. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. And it's one of those that I'm yet again, it's one of those that I have seen referenced like so
Oh
many
God, yeah, yeah, yeah.
times, you know?
Hell,
It's
they
like you
they
just
they parody that in like Animaniacs for crying out loud.
it's just constantly referenced, constantly just so it'll be nice to finally see the original thing,
Yeah,
you know?
what was the other movie that you were thinking about?
So the two that I was tossing back and forth were Cujo, which I've
Okay.
never seen,
I was never
and
also my memory tells me that one's very good.
the original Jumanji.
You've seen that though, right?
I have.
Okay.
But
I don't think I've seen it since it came out in like what, 96 or something like that. It was
I
really
haven't seen it
real
since it
early CG
yeah,
film.
I haven't seen it since it came out. And I was like I was like, yeah, I mean I could get behind it, but I was like I just wasn't full like and I was almost gonna go with that was gonna be the one. It was gonna be the original Jumanji. I was like over Cujo just because I was like I think it would be interesting to see all the animals. And I was like, but it's not quite the attack that I'm looking for. It is, I mean, they are attacking, like they are rampaging, if you will. But I was like, nah. But then when Michael said the birds, I was like, oh my, yeah. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. This is like the heavens opened, the angels sang. It was great.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there it is. Let's watch it. And Hitchcock, I mean, yeah, you want
Got a
suspense. I
pretty
have a
decent track
feeling.
record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I have a feeling the writing might be better.
Yeah.
So there you go. Let's watch it, shall we?
We shall.
Okay.
All right. Well, today's episode may have come to an end, but Animal Attack Month continues next time with Kelly's mandated movie, The Boys. If you'd
Please.
like to watch, if you'd like to watch it too, check out the description to see where it's currently streaming or available to rent. Until then, you can watch Movie Mandates on YouTube or listen to it in podcast form on iTunes. And if you want to help the show reach a wider audience, engagement is key. So like and comment and rate and review, all that good stuff. Much obliged. And with that, I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Andrew Eisen.
Kelly on Instagram at PimentoLivia.
We hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Movie Mandates, and we'll be back soon with another mandated movie. Bye, everyone!